mentioned people being murdered by folks obviously having firearms. One of the big issues that seems to be prevalent in this state as well as other states is red flag laws. The governor, I believe it was the second time in 2 years, has vetoed a red flag law for the state of New Hampshire. Once again, for folks who may be watching this on the tube, red flag laws are a method for confiscation of weapons from an individual and prior to due process. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Now, that's my personal opinion. So other people may disagree with that opinion. However, as a life member of the NRA, I believe that is something that we need to take a very close look at before we damage that amendment to the Constitution, which is something that is very vital to the nation in many ways, I believe. Would you like to comment on red flag laws?
So I am not afraid to touch third rails. Let's dive in on it.
Okay.
Because we need to. And this is a hard conversation. And too many people are so emotional when they get into the conversation that they can't have a rational conversation. They start yelling. And they've already made up their mind before they get into it.
Absolutely.
And that right there, that shuts down conversation. It shuts down progress. Personally, I believe that the red flag law that the governor vetoed was a good veto. Now, I have friends from the whole spectrum.
Sure.
And we should be friends with people who think different than us, who look different than us, who believe different than us, because it makes us better people.
Absolutely.
In that vein, we go back and forth over on this. And my concern is, you raised it, the due process, the erosion of the Second Amendment. And when we go to the Second Amendment, let's just go right to the base. Let's talk about that piece first. The Second Amendment shall not be infringed. Done. Okay, shall not be infringed. Due process. That's written down there somewhere too, right? So we're not taking away due process and we're infringement. Now, when we start talking about harm to self and harm to others, that's a problem. When we talk about violence, let's talk about violence. Let's not talk about the tool that is used, right? Hammers, baseball bats, fists, cars. Knives, These are things that are used. These are tools. When I hit my wailing away with a hammer and wham, whoa, throw the hammer, scream at the hammer, I blame the hammer. I need to blame me. Ray, you fool, you hit your hand.
Right.
I think we have a knee-jerk reaction to blame the tool. That does not mean that there are individuals, for whichever reason, that pose a threat to themselves or to others. Future crime is not a thing. That is a science fiction thing.
I was wondering if you were going to bring up that
I'm going to bring up that concept. Like I said, I'm not afraid to touch the rails.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
So future crime is not something you can be prosecuted for in this country, and that is a problem. You cannot do that. That doesn't mean that we don't have means to intervene. A big part of what I've been doing is suicide prevention. And one of the studies that I just came back from a training a year ago yesterday. And one of the things we talked about was counseling on access to lethal means, CALM training. And CALM training has been pushed by the VA, has been pushed by NAMI, and as well as a number of organizations out there. And the idea of CALM training is to delay the emotional response. And there is plenty of research out there that shows if you can delay access to lethal means, I'm not saying gun, the basis of the research came out of England and coal gas in ovens. People would stick their head in the oven after World War II and commit suicide that way.
Sure.
What they found was, this is a problem. Well, let's change the gas. And they changed the gas. And I think it was a 75% reduction in suicides as soon as they removed the method. So what they found is they've gone out and they've looked at other ways. And a 5-minute reduction, right? If I have to take a gun lock out, just a gun lock. I'm not taking my weapon, but if I have to take a gun lock out and I have to find the key and it takes me 5 minutes to assemble that weapon and put the bolt back in, I've got a 25% improvement in my survivability. If I can delay that by 1 hour, we're up to 75%.
That's tremendous.
Now,
let me ask
75.
Let me ask a follow-on question, though.
Go for it.
The Conway Police Department is currently short 3 officers. Right. You may or may not be aware of that fact.
Not 100%, but
okay.
Go for it.
Previously, they told me that where I live, it would take them roughly between 5 and 10 minutes to get to my house. We live in a condo / homeowners association project, which has three condos filled full time. The other 13 are empty most of the time because they're non-New Hampshire residents. Under the current circumstances, the fact that we buttressed by the National Forest on 3 sides, left, back, and right. As you look at it, you just drive in. That's the only time you're on state property. Right. My wife and I both carry all the time because we have 2 small dogs. We've seen wolves. We've seen a gray wolf. We've seen foxes. We've seen bears. We have a picture of a bear walking right down our driveway, which is a cool thing. Yeah. But, you know, when we're out there, if we have the dogs out, the dogs are 2 little guys, so they can't possibly do anything. We always carry. Yeah. Is that good, bad, or indifferent from your perspective? From
my perspective, it's indifferent. Are you a good person? That weapon, you know, you go down to a firearms store, and none of those weapons are jumping off to shoot people.
That's right.
Whoa! It's not the gun that's evil; it's the person who holds it.
That's right.
So, and that leads me into my position on gun ownership, which is gun ownership needs to be responsible ownership, right? When we start talking about responsible ownership, where are we learning how to handle guns? Where are we learning how to manage weapons? Where do we learn how to be safe around weapons? 1 generation ago, we went out hunting with Grandpa, right? Today, kids say, you know, where'd you get your steak? Supermarket. What's it made out of? Supermarket. They don't know where the food came from. They're not hunting. They're not learning. And as such, we're scared of it. It's an unknown. It's a scary rifle. And if it's a black rifle with some plastic and some composite pieces, whoa! And that's a personal opinion.
I am fortunate enough to relate completely to what you said, because when I was 10, I was the Barney Fife of a single-shot .22 rifle. Yeah. My father bought me a .22 rifle for my 10th birthday, and he handed me the bullets.
One at a time.
Pointed me where to shoot. Yeah. You know, until I was proficient, I didn't get anything more than 1 bullet at a time. That's why I call myself the Barney Fife of .22 rifles. Right. But I learned the necessity to treat a weapon as if it's always loaded.
There you go. Now we're talking. Now let's make some hay on this. Okay. You were taught to respect a weapon. You were taught to respect a tool. Do you respect your circular saw?
Of course. It can take your arm off.
Do you respect that electricity in the box? Like, I'm not going to go lick my finger and touch the circuit breaker, right?
Unless I want to fry myself.
Well, okay. So that goes back to that other conversation. However, the thing that we're getting at is we were taught. I've got 5 kids. We have guns in the house. Okay, I hunt. I shoot. I enjoy it.
Right.
I'm not a member of the NRA. I'm not a member of these other groups. I don't need to be, right? At this point in time, I'm sure that some viewers will disagree with that need, but that goes beyond to another point. The point is that my kids are learning how to respect a firearm. We don't have toy guns in our house. We don't allow them.
Okay.
We don't allow them. You know, there's no bang bang. There's no playing soldier. To me, that's too real. You know, you need to respect it.
If you've got an act to do, that's a whole different story.